Adobe Creative Cloud is $59.99 US per month, which is absolutely outrageous. However, the alternatives which I'm going to mention in this video are free, and some are currently cheaper than the Adobe monthly fee. And don't get me started that you have to pay cancellation fee for Adobe Creative Cloud. Just look at these prices. However, you can apparently avoid paying those. If you know, you know. First, let's try direct Photoshop competitor called Photopea, and this is an online based tool for editing photos. And here at the bottom you can also see which files it actually supports. For example, if you have your PSD file, you can also import it inside the Photopea. Inside this tool, I'll try to replicate one of my thumbnails. So right now I'll click on the new project, and I will have my project width of 1280 by 720. And for the DPI, I will go with 72. For the background, I will select here transparent, and I'll click on create. Here on the right, you can see that it has similar layers to the Photoshop. Then here at the bottom, we have the bin, we have also the new layer, we have the folder and the other stuff here as well. Now here we have gradient tool, text tool, we have here pointer. I'll go here to the file, click on open and place, and I will place my main thumbnail. Now, if you go here and click on open and click on the image, you can see that it will open in the new project, which we don't want. So make sure that you go here to the file and click on open and place. Now I will add another asset to the project, and here I will put it somewhere here on the middle. Now we will need to change the perspective of this image. So what I will do, I will click on the mouse and I will enable transform controls here. So right now I will just resize this image just like so. I will right click, and here I will just click on the distort, and now I will put it somewhere here and somewhere here, just like so, and somewhere here and somewhere here, just like that. And now what I will do, I will just click on the image here in the layers, right click and select here blending options. Here I will click on the stroke, and you can see already that we have here the stroke in the black color. And now what I will do, I will change the color to the white, just like so, and I will change the size of the stroke to, let's say, maybe 6. And now for the position, I will leave it to the outside. I'm quite happy with that. If I hide this layer, we have this current one, which looks just like this. And now we will need to add another layer for the background. So what I will do here, I will just go here to the rectangle tool and drag it across just like this. And now we have this rectangle in the color of black. I will change that to white. And now what I will do, I will just change this rectangle to the gradient. Here I will right click on it, click on the blending options. Here I believe we will need to go here to the gradient overlay. I will just change the angle to the, let's say, I will put it to the 0 here. And now I will change the gradient color to something else. So here I will click on the gradient and change that to something else, just like this. And I will click on, for example, this one. And now for this one, I will change that to this one. Now I will drag it a bit to the top, so somewhere brighter. And I will click on OK here. Now you can already see how it actually looks like. We still need to add some finishing touches. So here I will go to the first layer. So this is the main one, and just go here to the blending options. And here what I will do, you can see that we don't have the stroke anymore. I don't know why. I will enable or re-enable the stroke, and I will also need to add the shadow. So here I will click on drop shadow. You can see here the opacity. I'll put it somewhere here to the 80. And for the distance, I will put it somewhere here. The spread, I will decrease that to 0. And the size, I will put it somewhere just like so. Now I'm quite happy with that. I will click on OK here. And right now I would like to change these colors a bit to more vibrant. So what I will do, I will select this exact layer, so the main object of the image. I will click here to the filter, and here I will click on camera raw. Here we have all these parameters like exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, and stuff like that. I'll just change the vibrance a bit and also the saturation. So I will add saturation to, let's say, 5. Now I will just click on OK, and now we have this exact image. If we also want to add a bit of the, let's say, shadow here at the front, we can also do that by just right clicking, and I will click here duplicate layer, and I will disable all the effects. So here we have this layer. I will just rotate it a bit. So here we can try to make it a bit smaller, and maybe click here, right click and click on rotate. And now we can just rotate it just like so. And you can see here that the shadow actually doesn't here go so well with the original one. So we will need to also flip this image. So here I will just click flick horizontally. So right now it matches the Windows Start button. It actually matches here for this main object of the image. So here I will put it somewhere like so. And right now we'll also need to distort it. So what I will do, I will just right click on it, click on distort, and put it somewhere just like so. And this one I will put somewhere here, this one somewhere just like so. And that is how it right now looks like. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. Click on enter. And now what I will do with this layer, I will go here to the filters, and I will go here to the blur, and I will click on Gaussian blur. Now we can see that the initial effect, it's a bit strong. So I will try to reduce that to something like so. And now I think this is pretty much it. If I go to a bit smaller, I think it already looks kind of nice, and I'm quite happy with this thumbnail. So what I will do to export it, I will click on the file here and click on export as, and I will select here PNG. Here we have all the settings. So the format, you can also change that to whatever here you prefer. The width, the height, and the quality is here as well. I will call it the thumbnail, and this is pretty much it. You can also see how many of the megabytes this image will take. Now I'll click on save, and I should have this image on my computer. So this is at the moment how it actually looks like. And now let's move to the Affinity Photo 2, which is a standalone computer app which you can install on your computer or on iPad, and it's also direct competitor to the Adobe Photoshop. Now this application, it isn't free, it's around 37 euros and 49 cents, and it has also 50% discount at the moment. The first price was actually this much. Now I should also quickly mention that you can try this application completely for free. So here on this page, if you scroll down, you can see here free trial button, and I believe you can try this application out for about 30 days before deciding on your purchase. Now, if you are a student or a professor, I believe that then you can also acquire Affinity, so the whole package where you will get Affinity Designer 2, Affinity Photo 2, and Affinity Publisher 2 completely for free. So if you go to this website, you can just click on register for the waitlist, and if you are on the list of the supported schools, I believe you could acquire the whole Affinity suite completely for free. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. And now let's start with the Affinity Photo, where I will also try to replicate my first thumbnail. So this is how it actually looks like. I should quickly also mention that I usually use Affinity Photo 2 for creating my thumbnails. And now here I'll just click on next, and I will change that to 1280, just like this. For the page height, I will go to the 720 pixels. For the DPI, I will leave it to 72. And now just click on enter, and this is our preview, and I will click on create. Now this is our blank canvas, and to add some assets to your project, you can just go here to the file, click on place here, and now you can just add this one right here. So the first image, and you will place it somewhere here. And now I will also add another one. So in this case is this one. And later I will also compare the image created with the Photopea to this one, which I'm creating right now. Here I will just put it somewhere just like so. And now we will need to distort this image as well. How can you do that? It's quite simple in Affinity Photo as well. Just select the layer which you want to distort, click on the filters, and here click on distort filter. Now click on the perspective, and now I will just eyeball this position of this main image on this thumbnail, just like so. Click on apply, and now I will click on the FX right here. I should also quickly mention that it has similar layer layout to the Photoshop and the Photopea as well. Here under the layer effects, I will click on the outline. And here I will change the color of the outline to the white. Alignment, I will leave it to the outside and change the radius to, let's say, 6 pixels. Just like that. And now I will create another layer for the background. So here I will click here to the rectangle tool. I will just drag it just like so. And I will drag it at the bottom of the main image here. Now with the background image selected, click on the FX here. And now to create a gradient overlay, just enable this option right here. For the angle, I will leave it to the 0, and now we will need to change the colors straight away. So here, select the first circle right here, click on the color, and if you click the color picker here, you can just select one of the colors from the main image and click on the color picker once more, and you will have this color selected here. Now you can click here on the next circle, and then you can just pick another color from the image, just like so, and I will have it a bit more brighter, so something like this. Now if you want to add some noise to the colors as well, you can just click on the color here and drag this value a bit further. So I will do that something like here, and also on the other color as well, so somewhere here. And now the last thing which we need to do is also to add the outer shadow. Click on outer shadow, change the angle to 225 degrees, and right now I'll change the radius to something like, let's say 40, and intensity to, let's say, something like this. For the offset, I will change that to here, and now for the intensity, I'll try to, let's say, somewhere here, and let's say the offset goes here. For the opacity, I will leave it somewhere here. Now I think it already looks kind of good. I will click on close, and now we will need to apply the camera raw filter. Now applying camera raw filter is completely different in Affinity Photo because camera raw filter is named differently here, and it's actually called here develop persona. So what you will need to do, if you select here your main image, you can just click here on develop persona. If you won't be able to actually develop persona for your image, what you will do, you will right click on the image here and make sure that you rasterize the image first, and then you can just click on this button here, and then you will be able to develop persona here. So the main two values which I'm going to manipulate here is the saturation and the vibrance as well. So here I will just increase the vibrance to the maximum, and I will increase the saturation a bit, so something like so. Now I'm quite happy with the thumbnail. I will click on develop, and this is pretty much it. Now I will click on the file here to export it and click on the export just like so. Now you can see how many of the size this image will actually take, and also the formats are also all available here. Now click on export, and I will call it thumbnail 2. Just like so, click on save, and right now I will show you the differences between the first image created with the Photopea and the one created with Affinity Photo. This is the one created with the Affinity Photo, and this is the one created with the Photopea. Not much of a difference in the quality, I believe. This one is just a bit different compared to the first one, and I think that both tools are actually viable. Now, I believe that everyone knows Premiere Pro for editing videos. Now, if you want to really get out of the Adobe ecosystem, I highly suggest that you guys try to use Davinci Resolve by Blackmagic Design. This application is completely free to use. It has a ton of the features. However, they also offer a paid version called Davinci Resolve Studio, which offers a lot of more features which are unfortunately locked in the free version of Davinci Resolve. Now, I will only suggest that if you are just starting out, then make sure that you try to use Davinci Resolve free version. And if you are making videos professionally, then I highly suggest that you guys buy the Davinci Resolve Studio 19 because it has a lot more of the features and effects built in inside of the Resolve Studio 19. Now, Davinci Resolve 19 is actually in beta, but if you want to have the stable version version, then you will have to download the version 18.6, which you can also download on this website, and I will leave a link for it in the video description down below. TikTok made a video editor called CapCut. Now this one is also completely for free. I believe it doesn't have the paid version, and it's also quite good. The one thing which I quite like from the CapCut video editor is actually AI captions, which I use for my videos. The Davinci Resolve also has the AI captions, but they are inside the studio version of Resolve. So pretty much if you are just trying to make videos, I highly suggest CapCut as well. And now let's move on to the Adobe Audition. Now Adobe Audition is actually audio editing and recording software. It's also quite good, and the unfortunate thing is that it's under Adobe Corporation. So if you really want to get out of the Adobe, then I highly suggest another program, and it's completely free and you won't believe it, open source. It's called Audacity. I think that the Audacity is a really amazing tool for recording and editing audio files. Now you can also try it out completely for free. Now this is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, make sure that you smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel, would really be appreciated. And with that said, have an amazing rest of your day, and let me know in the comment section if you tried some of the tools out. Please let me know in the comment section and write them down which ones you tried.